Welcome to my second video, and today we will be analyzing a poem I made. Was actually the first poem I've created in my life, and we will be doing a line-by-line analysis on it. I couldn't fit the whole thing on here, so we will split it into two parts, and I'll continue the analysis after we finish this part. So, let's start. The title of it is Memories of Sky, and initially, right, with any poem, best thing to do is start with the title of it, and that's what we're first initially going to start with. So, memories. We can already think about, like, what is this poem possibly about? Maybe it's about nostalgia, or a reflection of things that have occurred in the past. And it says sky here, right? So when you think about sky, what do you think? Of course, the first answer you'd say is blue, right? So, blue. And what kind of emotion could that connote, possibly? Maybe sadness. Or maybe a sense of, like, calmness. And the words memory and sky are both capitalized, and this could indicate maybe there's some sort of importance to this. So just based off the title alone, we already have some idea of what the poem could possibly be about. Let's start. The thoughts I form, the scenes I make, you're near. So the word thought here is capitalized once more, right? So why was this done? What could this indicate? Usually things that are capitalized are important, like, people, places. So this could indicate some sort of importance or significance, let's say. Or even like a meaning, or something that's like meaningful to the author. I form. The scenes, here's another one. Why is this capitalized once more? So it's another emphasis on significance, right? And it says, I make you're near. One more time. This, another word is capitalized, but this time, it's the word is your. Before these were thoughts and scenes, and now the word your itself is capitalized. This could indicate an important person, I'd say. Right? So the thoughts I form, the scenes I make, you're near. So this important figure in this poem is inside of this person's important and significant thoughts and the scenes they conjure in their brain. Embracing me with love, I yearn just you. So over here already, we have a bit of a clue towards what the poem is about and the purpose of the poem, right? So maybe it's obviously someone important. But here we go, embracing. You don't necessarily embrace a stranger, do you? So this is a very close imagery, let's say. So these two people can be considered as close, maybe? Maybe they know each other a lot. No. Okay, so I yearn just you. So once more, this you person is capitalized. This significantly emphasizes their importance. In my mind all day, love for you, once more, anew. This you person again, once more, is capitalized. So as you can see, it's repeated throughout the first three lines already, of this you person being almost held up in a pedestal and frequently and consistently being like shown as important to this person. So, in my mind all day. Let's go there first. Frequently. Right? Because if something's on your mind all day, it obviously means you're always thinking about this person, let's say, or thinking about whatever it is, constantly. Right? Love for you anew. This you, significant, let's write S here because I've wrote significant like 3 times already. And anew. What does this mean? Right? So when I think of it, I think of like it's being refreshed, right? In my mind all day. So we think about constantly this love being refreshed. And when it comes to like I suppose relationships between two people, it is more commonly thought that it slowly dwindles over time. Let's like draw a small graph here. Like over time maybe it's high, but then slowly goes down, right? But this constant renewal of it shows it's like very significant once more, right? And it's perhaps a new level of experience. Okay, let's carry on. And let me pause on the content real quick. I just remembered to point something out. From what we've seen so far, there is a certain meter going out of this, right? And since I'm the one who wrote it, I know what it was. And it's called the iambic pentameter. I think, like, iambic pentameter. And each line, right, has 10 syllables. Let's count. The thoughts I form, the scenes I make, you're near. 10, 10, 10. Embracing me with love, I yearn just you. In my mind all day, love for you anew. And this was common, especially with Shakespeare's sonnets. And the sonnet was essentially a love poem, right, that Shakespeare wrote. And this already also adds another layer of understanding on what the poem is about in it. So iambic, not iambic. But yeah, which is one thing to know. Because structure is also very important about poetry, because it adds different levels of understanding that the average reader, let's say, wouldn't be able to catch unless they are more knowledgeable in this stuff. So always make sure to pay attention to its structure. Your eyes spark life. There we go once more. Capitalization, significancy, that's it. It's a repeated thing toward this poem. This you person is very significant. Eyes spark life. Your gaze, once more, warms me, my dear. So, D as well right here. Capitalization. What does this sentence mean? Your eyes spark life. When you think of sparks, what do you think about? Fire, usually, right? Some sort of flame. And someone's eyes having a fire inside of them is quite a beautiful image. Not to toot my own horn here, but makes you think of like some sort of like a passion, right? It's a very emotion-full imagery that you get after you see this. It's spark life as well, not even fire. This is like some sort of like comparison. Fire, usually you associate with destruction, let's say maybe, and life is like a renewal. When you think of life, you think of things coming into life, new things like nature and the earth. So these two sit next to each other, which highlights the meaning of it essentially. Your gaze warms me. There we go. Warms, maybe it could link with the fire we thought about earlier. Warms me, my dear. The stars with envy gaze upon my love. Another capitalization. These two, that's right. Significancy. The stars with envy gaze upon my love. I really like the sentence because usually it's the other way around, isn't it? We gaze upon the stars, but in this sentence, the stars gaze upon this person. And not even just regular gazing, with envy. So this further, like almost, I guess I said earlier, it puts this person on a pedestal. It puts this person on an even higher pedestal now. Because even the stars, something people most commonly associate with like being like higher than us, more amazing than us, more beautiful than us, is gazing at this person with envy, with like, not jealousy, that's a very important note. With jealousy tends to have a more negative connotation, but envy is more of a positive kind of yearn for, a positive, just a positive thing in it. So let's go. Longing for God's finest blessing. God's finest blessing. Your shine. So as if the pedestal couldn't be any higher. This person's trait, your shine, is related to it being God's finest blessing, right? And longing as well. Another link with the envy here of how desperate these stars are to have something as amazing of a trait to whatever this person has, being its shine. So stars are very bright things in it. And for a star to be jealous of this person's shine really encapsulates how much this author is like thinks so highly of this person. God's greatest gift, once more, given to me. Me being the author, as like the author of the poem. And you're mine, once more. I forgot to mention here as well, significancy. God's greatest gift given to me. It's almost also a sense of like wanting to keep to the author, given to me, you're mine, a repetition right here. The author already mentioned, oh, it's given to me, but just to further emphasize that, he goes, you're mine, and full stop as well here, and stop lines. And it really just shows like maybe a sense of desperation as well, let's say, because we want to have every possible reader interpretation, maybe desperation, in the sense of like they want to keep this person to themselves. That's why they like repeated this. Okay, radiant as angels. There's another imagery of like a higher power from God. Now angels, gentle as doves. All right. When we think of doves, we think of like birds because they are birds. And then we think of flight, which links with the angel thing here. And these are very, let's say, white images. Because angels, you usually think of light colors, don't you? And doves, they are white birds. So let's put, maybe this adds a layer of like innocence to this person, right? And really, once more, everything we've seen so far, this really pushes this person, right, on an even high. I can't find other words because this is as great, as specific as I can get. It just keeps on moving this person higher and higher and higher. And at this point, we should think, is this person important to the author? And after everything we looked at from the first two stanzas, I think we clearly say that, yes, this poem was in a way to like praise this you person. It's a repeatedly shown their significance to them. And yeah, we will continue this with the next two stanzas. This is the next two stanzas, and this is the final of the poem. So it consists of 4 stanzas, which does follow the Shakespearean sonnet structure. Let's start. I will also note, since you don't have the full 2 paragraphs together, it might be a bit hard to notice the next part. I'll mention in a bit. God's jest is cruel. So, in case you didn't know, jest means like a joke or a prank. Like a joke. Prank. Is cruel. What does that even mean? Why is God pranking or like joking to this person? And to God thinks this is funny, and to this author it's cruel or seen as evil, let's say. So these two things usually are contradictory, because usually when you think of God, people tend to think of it in a more positive sense. Open eyes, my light dies. So a lot of negativity already in the first line, and since in the previous 2 stanzas it was all positive, and now suddenly it's a negative thing, right? And as we will see, it stays in the negative thing. That is known as a volta. It's when there is a sudden change of emotion or like meaning or like a thought from a poem. It goes from a positive thing to suddenly a negative shift, which also follows the Shakespearean sonnet, as I mentioned earlier. So let's think about this. God's joke is like evil when this person opens their eyes, their light, this significancy as we've seen earlier. So the capitalization of the L shows that this is the person that we were referencing earlier, right? The person. Significant. Dies. So the light in the previous stanza, we were talking about like how angels and doves and how there's a white imagery. So we can obviously assume that this light is the person that they were talking about. So when this author opens their eyes, their light dies. So think about that, right? Earlier we were talking about all positive things, how amazing this person is. But when they open their eyes, their light of that person dies. What we can't really be sure on what this necessarily means. But so let's just continue with the other lines and see if we can link to the definition of it. Because I don't want to share all the secrets of what I've done. I want you guys to work on this as well and understand it in a nice flow. Yet linger, so even though this thing dies, it's still there. In memories of sky's hue. So this might be also a reference to the title. Memories of sky, memories of skies. There we go. So, what is sky's hue? Blue. Right? So as we said earlier, the sky could connote like sadness or peace. But after we see my light dying, right? And it's lingering in memories of sky's hue, would that talk about sadness or peace? I think since it's talking about dying, it's more logical to go with sadness, right? So even after this light is dead, it lingers in this person's memories, but these memories are all sad memories, and they linger around, so they don't disappear. Disappear. God torments me, for how deep is my star? Torment. It's quite a deep word. It's essentially mean torturing, isn't it? Torturing. So God is torturing this person for how deep is my star? This star, I think since we've talked about light and stars, we can automatically assume this is the person. So, how deep is my star? What does that mean? When you think of like, oh, how deep is my something else? We usually think in the sense of emotions, don't we? Like, oh, how deep is my love for you, let's say, for example. But so why does it say, how deep is my star? I want you guys to think about that. Right. Let's say why. Sentence said like this. Green God breaks your halo. Who is Green God? Let's underline this part. Breaks your halo. The significancy thing once more. Your halo. Brown Ein defies. So Ein, if you didn't know, is more of an archaic word, honestly. It means eyes. It's just a different way of saying it. So Green God, when you think of green, right, what do you think of? What's the first thing that pops up in your mind? For me, it's obviously nature. Maybe it has some sort of link because we aren't entirely sure of what this word means. So nature, God. Let's think about that. When you hear the words nature, God, a God of nature, let's say, what's the first thing that pops in your mind? Mother Nature, right? So maybe this is referencing Mother Nature, let's say. Let's add a few question marks because we aren't entirely sure. It could mean anything. And if you have a different thought of what something could mean, please go with that because it's all about your personal views on this and what you think it means, right? So Mother Nature breaks your halo. Let's say halo. Angels, isn't it? Or innocence, once more. So Mother Nature breaks your innocence or your sense of peace, you could say as well. And brown eyes defies. This is some rhyming as well, isn't it? So Mother Nature breaks your halo, but your brown eyes defies. And if you remember in the previous stanza, we mentioned about their eyes sparking life, isn't it? So Mother Nature breaks your innocence or your sense of peace, but this person's eyes of fire defies that and goes against what Mother Nature does. So I think we could gather this in the sense of this person has a strong sense of will, and even though Mother Nature, we can say, has broken their innocence down or broken their sense of peace down, they defy that and still go through, will power through it. Since youth, our souls entwined, if I just knew. Since youth. Right. So what does that mean? Maybe they've known each other for a long time. Old friends, let's say. Our souls entwined. This gives me the sense of like, they believe in fate, let's say. There's something called the red string theory, and I think this could be referencing it. If you don't know what it is, go ahead and Google it. Maybe it's the red string theory. Red string theory? Because it uses the words entwined, and it makes you think of like things being really, really close to each other, yeah? Or like tied together. And when I think back about like, oh, Mother Nature and nature, I think of like vines. That's when you would usually use the word entwined, like vines entwining with each other. So maybe it's more of like a nature imagery. So it's more peaceful. Right? If I just knew. What does that mean? Since youth, so maybe it's talking about like, oh, they've been friends for a long time, and their fate was like shown to be together, but this person wasn't aware of that fact. So maybe they just used to be friends, is what the author is trying to say, or something along those lines. The thoughts and scenes I now do own, you're far. So this is more of a cyclical structure. It's linking back to the first line of the very poem. The thoughts and scenes, importance was right here. I now do own. I now do own, what does that mean? Maybe the thoughts and scenes this person had in their head before, they didn't own, I guess. That's what they're saying. So what could this mean though? Maybe it means like a sense of control. Control. And you're far. So in the line just now, it just said entwined. Since youth, their souls were entwined and close together, we said it earlier. But now, this you person is far away. What could that mean? Maybe, what do you guys think? There are multiple meanings to go here. One of them could be like, oh, drifted apart. But the other meaning I'm thinking about is because of how positive and happy the earlier poem was. And this is all about like, still talk, even in a negative sense, it talks about like God torturing this person. But it also mentions about how deep that person is inside their brain, isn't it? So maybe in a sense of this person is literally far, like moved away, let's say. Which links back to my light dies. So now, after this person opens their eyes, that light dies because this you person is no longer there because this person's moved away. So that would make more sense than drifted apart, wouldn't it? But then again, drifted apart could work, but it's up to you guys on how you guys want to go that way. But since I wrote the poem, I think I would know what I was trying to say. But it's all, what's important is how you guys view what you're given and what it means to you personally and specifically. So I hope you guys enjoyed me doing a line-by-line analysis of the first ever poem I created. And if you had your own analysis or your own thoughts about it, please do share them with me in the comments, and I'd love to read them and go over them with you guys. Alright, see you in the next video.